everyone, welcome back to my class. This is Rumana Ali. I hope you all are doing well. In today's class, I'm going to start a chapter, Principle of Inheritance and Variations. Let us study about the second one, that is dihybrid cross. It means inheritance of two genes. Here the cross takes place between the two organisms that shows two pair of contrasting characters. The two pair of contrasting characters are taken into account to do this dihybrid cross. So, in the monohybrid cross, we have seen that how the one pair of contrasting character can be inherited from the parents to the offsprings. Now, let us take the two pair of contrasting characters. The first character will take here is the seed shape, round and wrinkled, and the other character is color of the seed, that is yellow and green. So, these are the characters that has been given by the Mendel. Out of that 7 pair of contrasting characters, here we are taking only 2 pair of contrasting character to show the dihybrid cross in between these two plants. The genes that shows these pure lines are taken as a parental generation. Round and yellow are the dominant characters over the wrinkled and green. So, when the cross takes place, here the gametes are formed, 4 gametes. From here also 4 gametes are formed, that are round and yellow, wrinkled and green. When these gametes gets fertilized, then 16 offsprings are produced. So, here will take the gametes of one parent and here will take the gametes of other parent. When the crossing occurs, it results in the production of 16 offsprings, and all these 16 offsprings of F1 generation are heterozygous, round and yellow. That means they are expressing only the dominant character. We have already discussed that F1 generation, the plants or the offsprings of the F1 generation will always express the dominant character. So, here in this F1 generation also, the 16 offsprings that are produced, they are heterozygous, round and yellow. So, all these 16 offsprings are heterozygous, round and yellow. They show the different alleles in their gene. That is why we are calling them as heterozygous, and they are expressing the dominant character. This one, R and Y. R is for round and Y is for yellow. So, they are expressing the dominant character, that is round and yellow. When the self-crossing takes place between the two members of the F1 generation, then the gametes that are produced are, this R will go with this Y and this allele will go with this another allele. That means capital R, capital Y, capital R, small y. Again this small r will go with capital Y and small r will go with the other allele, that is small y. So, it will be capital R, capital Y and small r, small y. So, when the self crossing takes place between the two members of the F1 generation, then these are the gametes that are formed, and after the gamete formation, let us draw one Punnett square to know or to see the offspring that are produced in the F2 generation. So, here we will be taking the gametes of one parent and this side will be taking the gametes of other parent. Now, when the crossing takes place, then it will be capital R, capital R, capital Y and capital Y. In this way, we will be writing all the gametes that are produced by the different offsprings. Capital R, small y and small y. In this way, we have to write all the genes that are produced or that are shown by the different offspring. Small r, small y and small y. These are the 16 offsprings that are produced after the self-crossing takes place between these two organisms or these two plants that are showing the character heterozygous, round and yellow. Now, let us see what are the different offsprings that are produced in the F2 generation. So, here capital R, capital Y, that means round and yellow. Here also round and yellow. Now, here R is for round, small y is present. So, we will write here green because small y, the gene codes for character green. Capital R is for round, capital Y is for yellow again. Here capital R is for round, small y is for green, small r is for wrinkled, and capital Y yellow. Small r wrinkled, again capital Y is for yellow. Likewise, we have to write the characters that are expressed by the different offsprings of F2 generation. So these are the 16 offsprings that are produced in the F2 generation. Now let us see the phenotypic ratio and the genotypic ratio of F2 generation in dihybrid cross. So when we talk about the phenotypic ratio, then we can find the presence of 9 round and yellow plants. 9 plants or 9 offsprings are produced that expresses the dominant character, that is round and yellow. So 9 are round and yellow, and 3 are round and green, 3 are wrinkled and yellow, and 1 is wrinkled and green. So the phenotypic ratio of dihybrid cross is 9:3:3:1. So now let us calculate the genotypic ratio of the dihybrid cross. So to calculate the genotypic ratio, we need to see what are the different genes that are shown by the different offsprings in the F2 generation. Now let us talk about the genotypic ratio of the dihybrid cross. So to calculate the genotypic ratio, we need to see the genes that are produced by all these offsprings. So here the capital R and capital Y are the genes that are present in only one plant. If the plant contains the same genes, or if the plant contains the same alleles, then these plants are called as homozygous, and if they are contain the different alleles in a gene, then these plants are called as heterozygous. So one plant is homozygous round and homozygous yellow, 2 plants are homozygous round and heterozygous yellow, 2 plants are heterozygous round and homozygous yellow, and the 4 plants that are produced are heterozygous round and heterozygous yellow. Sorry, 1 plant is homozygous wrinkled and homozygous yellow, 2 plants are homozygous wrinkled and heterozygous yellow, 1 plant is homozygous round and homozygous green, and the 2 plants are heterozygous round and homozygous green, and the 1 plant is heterozygous wrinkled and heterozygous green. So in such a way, the genotypic ratio of dihybrid cross is 1:2:2:4:1:2:1:2:1. This is the genotypic ratio. In the dihybrid cross, we are going to take the 2 pair of contrasting character, and here we took the 2 pairs that are round and yellow. So here we have taken the 2 pairs of contrasting character. One is seed shape and the other is seed color. Seed shape is round and wrinkled, and the seed color is yellow and green. So when we do the crossing between these 2 pure lines, then the F1 generation produces all the offsprings that are round and yellow. That means only dominant traits gets expressed in the F1 generation. When the F1 generation are self-crossed, then 16 offsprings are produced. That shows 9:3:3:1 as phenotypic ratio, and the genotypic ratio can be calculated based on the presence of alleles in the different offsprings. So this is about the dihybrid cross. Let us talk about the other crosses that has made by the Mendel, that is test cross and back cross. First we will discuss about the back cross. Back cross is done to improve the quality of the breed, and if the cross is done between the F1 hybrid and recessive parent, then this type, and if the cross between F1 hybrid with that of the dominant takes place, then this type of cross is called as back cross. And here the test cross is when F1 hybrid is crossed with the recessive parent. The aim of the back cross or the purpose of this test cross is to know the phenotype of the unknown one. So here let us take first the pure parental generation, then the gametes formation will take place, and we will be getting all the offsprings in the F1 generation with the dominant character, that is tall. All the offsprings of the F1 generation will be tall. Now when this F1 hybrid is crossed with recessive parent, then the offsprings that are produced are capital T, small t, and here small t and small t. These are the gametes that are formed. So these are the offsprings that are produced by crossing between the F1 hybrid with that of the recessive parent. Let us see the phenotypic and the genotypic ratio of this test cross. Here this one is the tall plant, this one is dwarf, capital T is for tall, small t is for dwarf. The two plants are expressing dominant character and the two are expressing the recessive one. So phenotypic ratio of this test cross is 2:2, 2 tall and 2 dwarf. Now let us see the genotypic ratio. So 2 are heterozygous tall and 2 are homozygous recessive. So the genotypic ratio of the test cross is also 2:2. So this is how the test cross can be used to know the phenotype of the unknown one, and the phenotypic and the genotypic ratio of the test cross will be same, that is 2:2. Now let us move to the back cross. Here we will take the F1 generation, F1 hybrid, and will cross it with dominant parent. This one is heterozygous tall, here this one is homozygous tall. So when we do the crossing between the F1 hybrid and the dominant parent, then these are the gametes that are produced, and when the self crossing takes place, here we will take the gametes of one parent or F1 hybrid, and here we will take the gametes of dominant parent. Now when the crossing takes place, then it results in the formation of two tall plants. Here also the ratio will be 2:2 because two homozygous tall plants are produced and two heterozygous tall plants are produced. In this way, the ratio of back cross and the test cross are same, that is 2:2, and the back cross is done to improve the breed. So these are the different crosses that has made by the Mendel to know or to get an idea about how to improve the breed, how the different characters are transferred from one parent to another parent, and how we can calculate the phenotype of the unknown one. All such kind of experiments or the crosses has been done by the scientist or by the botanist Mendel. Let us study about the derivations from Mendelian concept of dominance. So the first one is incomplete dominance. Here both the alleles, they combine together, neither of the allele is dominant over the another. So this is the concept, or this is about the incomplete dominance. Let us take one example to understand in a better way about the incomplete dominance. Here in the example, we will take one red flowered plant and the other one is white flowered plant. The pure lines should be taken as a parental generation. So here capital R and capital R represents the red, which is a dominant color, and small r represents the white color. Now the gamete formation takes place, and after the formation of the gamete, let us draw a Punnett square to understand the production of the offsprings. Here we will take the gametes of one parent and here we will take the gametes of another parent. Now it will become capital R small r, and here again capital R small r, capital R small r. In the F1 generation, as we have already discussed, that the dominant trait is going to be expressed. So according to the law of dominance, all these offsprings should produce or they should express the dominant character, that is red color. But in this cross, as they are showing the incomplete dominance, all the offsprings of the F1 generation shows pink color. So the pink color flowers can be obtained in the offsprings of the F1 generation. This is how the incomplete dominance is going to be shown by the different plants. When the offsprings of the F1 generation are self-crossed, then the gametes that are formed are capital R and small r. Again we will draw one Punnett square to know the offsprings of the F2 generation. Here we will take the gametes of one parent and here the gametes of another parent. Now after the fertilization, we can see that one red is obtained, the two are pink and this one is white. So if we calculate the phenotypic ratio, then it will be one red color 2 pink color flower bearing plants and 1 white flower bearing plants. So the phenotypic ratio of this cross is 1:2:1 and the genotypic ratio is also 1:2:1 because here the homozygous red, this one is heterozygous, which shows, and because of the incomplete dominance it neither express the dominant character nor it express the recessive character. The different character can be expressed in case of incomplete dominance, and that is pink color. So here the two capital R and small r, so here we will take 2 and 1 is recessive, 1:2:1. The genotypic and the phenotypic ratio in case of incomplete dominance is same, that is 1:2:1. So the incomplete dominance is nothing but neither the dominant character is expressed nor the recessive character is expressed. This is called as incomplete dominance. The recessive character cannot be dominated completely by the dominant trait. This is called as incomplete dominance. Let us talk about the codominance. In case of codominance, both the alleles, dominant character as well as the recessive characters, are going to be expressed. Let us see how. So here also we will take one example. In this example, we will be taking a character coat color in cattle. So you might have seen that some cows, they show the black or the brown color patches on the white coat. So that is nothing but codominance. Here we will take the character capital B and capital B, that represents the black color. These are the pure lines and this is for white color. The gamete formation takes place again, and in the F1 generation all the offsprings that are produced, they show both the characters. Both the characters can be expressed in the F1 generation. This is called as codominant. The offsprings of the F1 generation, they show the white coat, and on that white coat skin black patches are going to be appear. In this way both the colors white as well as black are expressed by the offsprings in the F1 generation. So if the progeny is expressing both the traits, dominant trait as well as recessive trait, then that process or that is called as codominance. So in this way, in the codominance, both dominant and the recessive characters are expressing together. Let us talk about the mutation. Mutation is a phenomenon in which the alteration of the genes or the alteration in the DNA sequence takes place. If the genes or the DNA sequence gets altered, then that phenomenon is known as mutation. It is of two types, chromosomal mutations and the gene mutation. If the changes occur in the chromosomal structure, then that is called as chromosomal mutation, and if the changes occur in the coding of the amino acids in a protein chain or in a coding of the genes, the changes that occurs in the gene code, then that type of mutations are called as gene mutation. Besides the recombination, mutation is also a phenomenon due to which the variation in the structure of the DNA takes place, and because of these mutations, the phenotypic and the genotypic ratio of the organisms also gets changed. The gene mutation is of two kinds, point mutation and inversion mutation. In the point mutation, what happens is, this is the amino acid, a chain of amino acid, that is the structure of a protein. So this one is first, second, third, fourth, fifth, sixth, likewise all the amino acids are arranged in a chain like structure, that is called as protein. This sixth amino acid is glutamic acid, and the gene codes for this glutamic acid is GAG. If one of the nitrogen base gets changes, then the structure of the amino acid also gets changes and it becomes the another amino acid, that is valine. If A becomes U, then GUG is a code that codes for valine amino acid. In this way, the changes that occurs in one base of the amino acid or in one base of the gene, then it leads to the changes in the whole structure, that is called as point mutation. Here point mutation names refers that only one base is getting changes. Due to this change in one base of the gene code, it results in the point mutation. And here we can take the example of sickle cell anemia. If the changes occur in any one of the base of the amino acid, then it leads to the changes in the whole DNA structure that can cause sickle cell anemia also. In inversion mutation, these two bases in a gene code is going to be flipped. It becomes GGA. So GAG is a code that codes for one amino acid and GGA is a code that codes for another amino acid. In this way, the flipping of the nitrogen bases in the gene code results inversion mutation. So mutations are nothing but changes that occur in the DNA sequence or that occurs in the genetic structure of the organisms. So this was about the chapter Principles of Inheritance and Variations. That's all for today. Meet you in next class. Goodbye.